Hey everybody, it's Joe Testa from Zildjian, and I am so happy to have today Pedrito Martinez with us. Pedrito, how are you, man?
How you doing, my brother? It's a big honor. Thanks a lot for this
Oh,
beautiful opportunity, man.
the honor is ours, trust me. First and foremost, how are you doing? How's your family? How you been handling everything that's been going on?
Family is great, man. Thanks a lot for asking. Hopefully, your family is great too.
Yeah.
I've been practicing like never before, writing music. Doing a lot of teaching via Zoom. It's just completely different, but it's good too. There's a lot of great things. No
Yeah,
matter what.
it seems like a lot of people have been practicing. I think the level of musicianship's going to jump up when we get back to it. It's
Totally
gonna be
agree.
crazy. Which in your case is almost impossible to get any higher. I don't know how you
Man.
would get any higher. Hey, I have a question for you. So the video we just saw, I think that was something that you guys shot at the Red Rooster, right?
Yes.
A few years back. And what exactly was that? Because that was
Actually, we were playing in that beautiful restaurant. The name is Red Rooster in Harlem. We had a residency in that beautiful place, and I was there already for 2 years because of the pandemic. We
yeah.
stopped playing there. But it's amazing, man. It's a very very beautiful place. The environment and the people in there are very very cool. So I'm
That's
so proud that I'm playing there. The owner is a chef from an Ethiopian guy,
oh.
very beautiful human being. So it's great, man, to have a residency still. I used to had Guantanamera,
Yeah, I remember seeing
and
you there
then we
many
moved
times.
we moved
Yeah.
to BB King. They closed the BB King, and then we went to Subrosa, the meatpacking, area, and then now we are the Red Rooster. It's amazing.
That's great. So great. Well, look, I know you have a new record, and congratulations. And
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to get all into that. But I want to back up a little bit for people who are just getting to know you, and even for those who do know you, maybe they don't know so much your history. So I'd like to go back if you're cool with it. And
Sure.
I obviously you're from Cuba. I think we all know that. But I wanted to know, how did you fall in love with percussion? How did you first get attracted to the instrument, and how did that all come about?
Well, Joe, I was born and raised, as you mentioned, in Havana, Cuba, in a neighborhood called Key West. Um, I grew up in an environment surrounded by the greatest a lot of great figures of for Cuban music. But my mom is a singer. She used to sing when she was young a lot, and my one of my cousin was a very well-known conguero from Pello Lafrocan. Pello Lafrocan was one of the most relevant figures from Cuba,
Mm.
and my cousin was a great conguero. He he had a motorcycle accident and he died when I was not even born.
Mm.
But my mom, since I was little, she used to put a lot of his music, show me a lot of his pictures and tell me a lot of histories about his career. It was amazing. And then when I started playing with Tatawines, which is one of the greatest congueros from Cuba, he used to tell me a lot of stories about my cousin. He said that he was one of the greatest. So I, I I I listened to a lot of music in my house, and I learned to dance with my cousin. Um, and the neighborhood I grew up was very popular. I remember right across the street from my house, there was a theater where a lot of great orchestra used to rehearse, like Orquesta Aragón, Ritmo Oriental, many great orchestras, and I used to cross the street and listen to the rehearsal the whole day. I remember I'd come back from the school, cross the street, and start listening to the rehearsals. It was like fascinating for me, man. I feel like since I was very young that I was gonna become a musician.
So it's just in your DNA. I mean, your whole family. That it's
Yeah,
just
all my
so
brothers are percussion players too.
yeah. So the, I think that we had talked before. I think you were telling me rumba was probably your first style that you got into because it has playing and singing. Maybe
Yeah.
because your mom was a singer and it kind of was.
Hmm.
Can you explain a little bit about
Yes.
rumba?
Well, I never had the opportunity, Joe, to go to the school of music. At that time, you need a connection, someone, a friend of you that was going to introduce you to someone to being able to study in the school of music. So, unfortunately, I learned onomatopoeically, and it was hard. It was different. It was hard because by that time I didn't know how to read music and the folklore environment. People don't, in general, people don't read music. It's not about school. We learn in the street, playing private ceremonies and all that. But there was a place called Callejón de Hamel, like a couple of blocks from my house, where a lot of rumba groups used to have a residency there. It's a very beautiful street, by a painter. His name is Salvador, very famous. So I used to go there and play rumba all the time. And rumba is a secular genre of Cuban music that involving dancing, singing, and playing. So that was the very first pattern and rhythm I learned when I was very young.
Can you give us show us a little example of rumba?
Definitely, the complex, we call it complex. The complex of rumba have three different patterns. The first one we call it jambu, which is very slow tempo. The second one we call it guaguancó. Guaguancó is the one that is a little bit more fast, but people dance with the women. And the Colombia is the fastest one where people compete one to each other. Who is gonna be the best dancer, and it's a competition in a challenge. Between the conguero, the quinto player, the one that improvises, and the dancer. So I'm gonna show you a little piece of Guaguancó, and I'm gonna sing a little bit of the song called Lengua de Obara. Lengua de Obara means thorn, a thorn that the someone that speak too much, talk too much crap. So this is a composition by Jesus. Jesus was the quinto player, one of the greatest composer and percussion player from Matanzas, from the Muñequitos de Matanza group. So here is Lengua de Obara. A ti te dicen candela por esa lengua tan larga que como un cuchillo vuela y corta como navaja. Pero a ti te dicen candela por esa lengua tan larga que como un cuchillo vuela y corta como navaja. Pero al epitiganzo, candelina lengua yo, candelina lengua yo. Candelina lengua yo, Candelina lengua yo.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you, brother.
The thing that I mean, this is with all amazing percussionists and drummers is the fact that you can almost separate your limbs and your voice into two different like brains. Like, have you always been able to do that, or did that take time to develop? Like, you just sing like, and your hands are moving like it's like two different people.
I mean, brother, in this genre of music, most of the people do that.
Yeah.
People sing, dance, and play. So that's something that require. They, teachers and my mentors used to tell me, you have to dance, sing, and play at the same time if you want to be a successful folk musician. And it's
Did it
something
come
natural.
natural? Did it come
Yeah, it
natural?
came natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also it's so funny because when I'm not singing and playing at the same time, I feel weird. So a lot of people call me, to do some collaboration and sing in an album, and it's just I feel like I'm missing something. So when I just play and I don't sing, I miss the singing. When I sing and I don't play, I miss the playing. It's
It's
crazy.
it's amazing.
But I feel that what I feel like my soul and my spirituality flew very natural when I do the same thing, everything at the same time.
I think most people, especially in America, most people don't have maybe just two and four, and you can sing a little bit. But to be able to do the complex, it's not complex to you. It's just natural to you. But for everybody else, it's like it's amazing to watch and how beautiful
Yeah,
it
thank
is.
you,
All
brother.
works together. So another style, another folk related style, I think probably more religious than
Hmm.
secular was your uba, right? Is that how
Yeah,
you say it?
Yoruba, Yoruba.
So you said that was a very big part of your
Yeah,
kind of DNA as well. So can you talk a little bit
yeah.
about that?
So the Yoruba people came, from Africa with the African diaspora. Four different ethnic groups were brought to Cuba with the slave trade, and we preserve the culture, we preserve the music, the chants. In Cuba we call it santeria, and or regla de ocha, but it came from the Lukumi dialect from Nigeria. And I grew up listening to that music too, and I became a santero first. Santero is when you crown a deity, they crown you a deity, and you start learning about the culture. So, and then eventually I became a priest. It was years of studying the dialect, studying the culture, the language, and it's beautiful. It's part of my life. There's so many beautiful melodies that I grab from those chants, and I incorporate them to my arrangements. So for me, music is something so spiritual and so powerful that it required that you give people all you have from your soul, from your heart. And it's a big part of who I am. I've been trying to, that's a mission. It's like I've been trying to preserve and keep alive the legacy of that for Cuban culture.
Wow, that's really cool. So rumba and then your uba,
Yoruba.
those two things kind of built your foundation.
Yeah, yeah, you're totally
So
right.
can you give us an example of the yoruba? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna play. I mean, the bata drums are the instrument, one of the most important instruments in this particular culture, in this
yeah,
particular
this is interesting because this is
genre
the
of music.
I think the
Yeah,
bata was the first thing I saw you when I first saw
yes,
you playing. I was
yeah,
blown
yeah.
away because I
So
had never seen
the
anybody do
bata
that.
drums and the conga, I used to learn them simultaneously.
Wow.
The bata is way more complex. Just a lot of more information going on because normally you play independently, separately.
Mm,
One person plays the big one. We call it iya in the Lukumi dialect. We means mother.
mhm.
The middle one we call it itotele, which is the second son, and the third one, the little one, we call it okonkolo, which is the first son. So through all these years, I've been practicing and trying to put together the three of them, just play one by one person. And a lot of musicians in Cuba have been doing this even before I did it. And it's hard to do it, but I've been practicing a lot for all these years, and I was able to put together the three of them at the same time and singing at the same time. So I'm gonna sing a little bit for the deity Elegba. Elegba, represent a little kid in the Yoruba tradition. So let's do it. I'm gonna move a little bit the camera.
Okay.
Can
yeah,
you see
no
the
problem.
bata? Let me move the bata better. Like that you can.
It's so great.
I was trying to sing this. The reason I didn't sing was because I don't have a mic back there.
No, it still was beautiful. That's still great. So I have a maybe not so related question, but on the tuning of both the bata and the
Mhm.
conga drums, do people everybody tune it a little different? Is there a reason why you tune the way you tune, or what's your thinking
Um,
behind
I tune by by ear.
it?
That's not a specific note assigned to any of the conga, but especially because I love singing so much. For me, it's so easy to recognize exactly the same tone, the same tonality that I use every time I play.
That's
But
yeah.
that's not a like protocols or you know like rules to tune the congas or the bata. It's up
Up to
to
the
you.
player.
Yeah, up to the player.
So
Exactly.
everybody has their own personal
Yeah.
tuning touch. Yeah.
I mean, I've been in studio when people have been telling me, "Hey, man, that will be in C minor, and this will be in," and I said, "Thank you, man. That's beautiful advice. Thanks a lot."
Then you
I
just do
mean,
what you.
yeah, what you can do? What
Yeah.
can't you do? There's
Yeah.
nothing you can
Yeah.
do about it.
That's so great. All right, I want to go back to your family a little bit. I want to talk to you about your brother because I know you and him were. Is he younger, older? Your brother?
I have three more brothers. I have
Three.
two bigger than me, and the little one is the one been more attached to my heart. I can say like that.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah.
that I teach him. Actually, in two of those pictures, the little one is the one playing with me, and then on the middle, I mean, the picture in the middle, the one on top is my oldest brother, not the oldest one, but he's older than me, 2 years older than me, Mayito.
Mm.
Right there, I was teaching him in that's my room in Havana. That
Ah,
was in 1993.
wow.
I was teaching him some bata. And then the other two pictures, one on the right and the left, is my little brother. I show him everything in percussion. I teach him since I'm 6 years older than him. That was in my house too, in Havana, the same
Wow.
year.
And
Man,
it's
I used to practice in my house like crazy. But the funny thing is that I never had a congas or bata until I got here. I was asking friends to borrow those congas and have it for an hour, a couple of hours.
wait a minute, wait a minute. So you didn't have your own instruments in
Never,
Havana?
no, never. The only instrument I had was a practice pad that I did by myself. Was a piece of wheels, car wheels, and then I put some, how do you call,
Rubber?
with a hammer. I put some. I mean, I put it. I was trying to make it like a tie
Yeah,
stick in
yeah.
there on the piece of wood and practice. The only instrument I had was that. The first conga I had was in United when I got here in 1998.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
That's
I
really
used to I
crazy.
used to I used to go to friend's house to practice because they had congas and to another friend's house because they have bata, but I never had congas
Yeah, I heard that you practice you before you play, you warm up on a pad
all the time. I'm always with
with sticks, right?
sticks all the time.
With your Vic First sticks, of course. And then, but you practice. So you warm up with
Always.
sticks before you play. Did
Yeah.
that come from because of what you just said? Like,
Yes. Yes. I've been practicing with sticks since I was 11 years old, since I was very young,
That
all the time. I was told I was gonna be great for you, for you arm, to relax and being able to play better congas. Nobody told me that. Eventually, people been doing that through all these years. The greatest congueros, all over the world. Some of them, warm up with the practice pad and all that. But I've been doing that all my life.
see that I heard that and I was like, that's amazing because
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that.
Oh yeah, always, always. I mean, I used to play timbales a lot. My first album
Yeah.
entitled "Slave to Africa," I played the drums. I did all the songs. I composed all the songs, and I play all percussion, including drums. I used to practice drums a lot. That's one of the instruments that I would like to play more.
Yeah, I'd love
Um,
to see that.
but yeah, my first record was on drums, and I used to play drums in some of the greatest bands that I played so far in here. But when I used to have like a couple of moments when I used to sing on drums, and I did some recordings on drums on that project.
Yeah, I believe it or not took a lesson from Chanquito
Ah,
years ago, and it was quite a it was more than a humbling. It was almost embarrassing moment because he's just so unbelievable. But to see him play the drums and how funky it was, like,
yeah,
I mean,
it's
and then David Garibaldi told me about how, he, all those guys, he was the one that hit me to Chunguito and all that stuff. He was like, "This is where all it comes from, and this is where the funk comes from." And
Changuito is one of my heroes, one of my, I cannot say mentors because I never took a class with Changuito, but a spiritual mentor because I always listen to his music. I always listen to his ideas. It's like he create um some rules for the modern percussion players all over the world. It's like unintentionally he invents something that just stay. Let's say everybody's going to all those rudiments from drums. Um, he incorporated to the congas him and Giovanni Dago
yeah,
simultaneously.
yeah,
Both of these
Gio,
guys changed, in my perspective, they changed the way of percussion, the way to how to play percussion, and
yeah,
opens so many doors for us because in, in the folklore world we were just playing all those patterns that, oh, we cannot get out of this square, this is gonna be like that.
mm,
And then for me as a folklore musician, a lot of people really appreciate that I went, I break those rules. I mean, rules are made to be broken, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I'm so like I don't care. I want to always try new things. If it works, good. If not, I keep trying to find other different alternative. And I think in general, that's what I've been doing. I always trying to incorporate new ideas and invite uh, musicians from different cultures and I add different genres of music to my music. I think that's great. That's a beautiful thing.
yeah, yeah. And you've definitely done that. I mean, just seeing, like I was watching your Tiny Desk video, which if anybody hasn't seen it, that you got to look it up. And somewhere, I think it's somewhere around 12 minutes in, you start doing the drum set thing. You start incorporating a little. You start branching out a little bit from the congas, and it blew my mind. I was just like, it, it's pushing the boundaries. You know what I mean? I want
Yeah,
to see, and like you said, I'd love to see you do drum set. Like,
yeah, man. It's a beautiful instrument. In Cuba, contemporary music, what we call contemporary music from Cuba, which now people call it timba, is a powerful genre of music that require like a big orchestra, like 15 people, sometimes 10, 12. So when I got here in the United States in 1998, and when I started playing in Guantanamera, I used to have that residency, I was so like overwhelming trying to organize ideas to how to put together a quartet that sounds like 10 or 9 people. how am I gonna? I was thinking how I'm going to do that. What elements do I need to add to my setup? Because I just had two congas and that's it.
Mm.
And then eventually I started putting the cajon because the cajon was going to to give me that sound of the kid drum.
Yeah.
So and then I said, if I want to sound like an orchestra, I need to have the bass drum first,
Yeah.
and then we need to find the right repertory, the right musicians. It was also a riddle for me. It was like crazy to put together a quartet that sounds like a lot of people. I remember I was telling my brothers in the band, guys, let's have a good time. We don't need we never rehearse because we used to play like 4 times, 5 times a week. And then I was bringing all the songs that I learned when I was young in Cuba, all the songs that I used to love, and make it us. Like, let's play the way we feel. And it became what you hear, what you see. So all this year I've been trying to add more elements. Oh my God, symbol. I need symbol because I need details. I need dynamics. I need beautiful colors here, there, not just powerful things. So I have a duo project with Alfredo Rodriguez, a piano player from Cuba, and we were in a tour in San Luis, in the Jazz Bistro, and I just have like 3 congas, the cajon, and a cowbell. So he told me, Pedro, why you don't add a couple of cymbals here, hi-hat, snare? I say, yeah, we need to make this duo sound big too. And everything came out so natural and beautiful. So I decided to stay with this setup for PMG too.
Yeah, I remember walking in that
That's
restaurant,
it.
and it sounded like 20 people playing, and I got up there and it was only 4 of you. Can you play some of that a little bit? Can you play a little
Oh
bit
my
of
God, man. So I
this is so
remember
awesome.
I mix a macuta is a rhythm from Cuba, from the complex of Bantu. Bantu, have 3 different also patterns: palo, macuta, and yuca. So I grabbed the macuta pattern and I did like a pattern with this setup that you're gonna hear now. That I've been using it a lot in my sons because it sounds so funky, but it's like you have a big mix of the how can I say, like church music from here and Cuba. It's so cool. It goes like that. T- t-
It's so great. Oh, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a mix of makuta with some, like, some funky, some.
it's so great. So, going back a little bit to the Kungas, so your mentors, because you had mentioned a little bit there. I want to go. Who were some of your mentors? Who were some of the teachers on Kungas that
I never had a teacher. At the beginning of this interview, I was telling you I learned onomatopoeically, like pa, doo, pi, pa, pi. We call it onomatopoeically.
Hmm.
In Spanish, onomatopeicamente. That means that my mentors used to tell me, "Hey Pedro, the quinto patterns go pa, piti, cum, butu." So we call it that. I don't know in English. I think I'm saying it right. Onomatopoeically. So it's a way that people tell you something with the mouth, and you
Yeah,
need to repeat it with your hands.
yeah,
So I learned that way. I never had a teacher that came to my house, or I went to his house and start telling, oh, this is like that, slap is like this. I learned on my own, and it was completely different way to learn, an unusual way, but it was great. It was good. It was very good. I learned so much about their experience, about the personal life, um, and it was very a beautiful way to learn the spirituality of the music I was playing. I was learning, and I had so many mentors. I said mentors not because they teach me, but because I've been following their careers, because I went to see them many times playing, because I want to play like them, talk like them, dress like them. Federico Aristides Soto, well known as a Tatawines. I played with him for 3 years when I was 23 years old,
Mm.
21 years old. That was in a long tour in Canary Islands in 1996. That's Tata Wines, one of a beautiful and an extraordinary human being. I learned so much with him. So I used to tune the congas on every concert for him because I want to play the congas. That was my time to practice a little bit of congas. So I used to all this those 6 months I used to tune the congas from him before the concert, and I used to play. So of course Anga, Miguel Anga, the conguero from Iraquere, El Niño from Iraquere, El Yulo from NG La Banda, Patato Valdés, Cándido Camero, Armando Perraza, Giovanni Hidalgo, Mongo Santa María, Rey Barreto. I mean, I have so many influence and people that I can say I learned something from all of them. My godfather Roman Diaz, or Pancho Quinto, Orlando Puntilla Rios. There's many.
Yeah,
All of them have
I wanted to ask you about your godfather.
all of them have like a. I mean, my godfather, his real name is Eduardo Diaz Anaya, and his nickname is Roman Diaz. Um, yeah, there you go. That was the very first time I get out of Cuba. It was a project by my dear friend Ulises Mora. He lives now. He's in Europe. He's been in Europe for a long time in Italy. But this particular tour and this particular project was like opened so many doors for me, and it was beautiful, beautiful period of time. My godfather Roman, which is the guy on top of the biggest one that you can see in the picture.
Mm.
He he's an icon of Cuban folk music. He's a founder of one of the most relevant rumba group from Cuba, Yorubandao. I learned so much with him. I used to hang with him almost every day when I was between 19 and 25 years old. That's outside of his house in a neighborhood called La Victoria, like 5 minutes away from my house in Havana.
Mm.
The guy with the red shirt, a teacher, his name is Ricardo Santa Cruz, was one of the most famous singers and dancer from Cuba. And then next to him is my little brother Tonito, and then in the middle is Pancho Quinto. You know, this guy is like a Bible of Afro-Cuban music. He was one of the most well-known folk musician from Havana. And then after him is my godfather Roman Diaz, and then me. So this was a beautiful group that my godfather put together, or Roman Diaz put together, and I learned so much too in that group. So Roman Diaz, it's been a great, like my second father for me. I produced his first record here with Motima. We've been in so many albums together. We traveled the whole world together. Actually, the three tours I had out of Cuba was because him. First
Mm.
time was to Paris, France with him, and then I went to Costa Rica when he brought me to Yorubandao group, which was a great group. And then when the project with Tatawina was, when the people were putting together the project with Tatawina, he recommended me to that project. So I own him a lot. And he's one of the greatest folk musicians from Cuba.
It's amazing. You everywhere you turned, you were next to another legend. You know, another.
Yeah, I learned
What a
from
blessing.
a lot from all people. I was surrounded by a lot by people that was very, had way more years than me. In in Yorubanda, I was the youngest member when I started playing with that group. In Tata Winners group, I was the youngest member too. Everybody
So
was like 60.
with Tata, so there must be a few patterns or so that you probably learned from him that
Oh my God.
could you share a couple that I know it's probably a million, but
Brother, Tata Wina used to have, I mean, no, Tata was not someone that have a huge repertoire on the congas, but the few he had, nobody,
he was
no
the
one
one.
can do it like him,
Yeah.
And this was the first thing I learned from Tata, and I keep it. It's gonna be with me for the rest of my life. Of course, I'm never gonna do it. It's never gonna sound like Tata, but it goes like that. Tata used to do that a lot, bro. Like crazy with his. He used to have a big nails, and then he used to do this with his hand, with his nail. I cannot do it because I had no nails, but he used to do this too. You know, with his nails,
Yeah.
and then this exercise I was doing. Oh my God!
So
One
that's
of the most beautiful slap on the conga came out from that guy,
wow. That's so great.
sharp and clean.
So Cuba, grew up in Cuba, and so if I understand right, and you, I think listening to American music, I think was illegal, right? Like you couldn't, that
I
wasn't
mean,
supposed to be done.
yeah, I can't say it like that. I've been saying it like that in a lot of my interviews. It was a tough period of time for Cubans in general. Um, I mean, I'm not gonna feel comfortable diving into politics too much, but I can give you a little bit of my concern when I used to live by that period of time that was tough. We used to call it special period. They call it in Cuba periodo especial in Spanish. But even before that, it was illegal to have been related to anything that has to that was coming from the United States.
Hmm.
It was illegal to listen to music. It was illegal even to wear something with the American flag. I mean, it was crazy.
Hmm.
So in my house, we used to have a radio called Selena. I need to call my mom and my father in Cuba. I need to find out what the radio from what country that radio came. I don't know if Selena was a Cuban radio or from a Russian
Russia. Yeah.
or American. I don't know, but there was a Selena radio in my house where there was some people in Miami that were against the government, and they used to have a station called Radio Marti. Marti was like an icon in Cuba, and so this station used to get by some reason in that radio. We need to listen to that station that was from Miami, and in that particular radio station, they used to put a lot of American music, brother, and even from England. Eric Clapton, Rolling Stones. I mean, Pink Floyd, AC Dixie, Lex Zeppelin, King Quiz, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Demeters, Lionel Richie, Earth, Wind, Fire, Cool and the Gang. I know all those bands, even Bruce Springsteen, Sting, because that radio. We used to, put our ear very close to the radio because if someone, a police or someone that work for the government listening, you you can be in trouble.
Oh, jeez.
But that really helped Cubans to love and appreciate American music and understand American music. You can tell that Cuban music is so attached and have so much things in common and a big influence from American music. You can see in all those, contemporary orchestra where the drummer is playing American music, brother. So, and even the bass lines, there's a lot of orchestras used to have like the intros from Weather Report, Los Van Van, which is one
Yeah.
of the most
Yeah,
popular
Los
orchestra.
Bonbon. Yeah, yeah.
Wapapi, wapapire, sabatopa. So, it's a beautiful thing. That's right. When I got here in 1998, I say to myself, I think I'm in the right country to develop my ideas, to become a better human being, and to learn a lot of more genre of
Kind of a
music than just
melting pot,
Cuban
right?
music. And it was amazing, man. It was great.
So tell me, I'm really interested. So when you were sitting there listening real close to the radio, like what were a couple of the bands you heard that were like, you were like, oh my gosh, I got to hear more of this.
Cool on the game.
Cool. Yeah, that's so good.
Celebration. I know those songs since I was
Yeah.
celebration. Oh la la la. Taba, bada, I remember on the parties in Cuba when I was little, we used to sing in English, whatever. We didn't know how to speak in English. We would listen something and then, oh, yes, let's just repeat that. And that's a phrase that became like epic, so popular in Cuba. In one of the Lionel Richie song, All Night Long.
All night
All
long.
night
Yeah.
long, all night. So that's a part in the song that he said, yeah, I said it. But in Cuba, we always say the word acere. Acere is a word that we always say to a friend. What's up, acere? Like my brother, how you doing? So some Cuban were saying that Lionel Richie was Cuban because he was saying, yeah, I said it. And people thought he was saying I said it.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
great.
God. It was so funny. So, I grew up, I was so fascinated with Lionel Richie's song and Conan again. So the first time I went to the studio here in New York City, I remember one of the lead vocal from Cool and Again. The lead vocal actually was in the next room, and I was so excited to get a picture with him. And he was saying, I always live in Jersey, and he used to say that he was from Jersey, from Jersey City. So I was so excited to have a picture with him. I was not able to get the picture, but at least I hugged him and I told him, man, I'm a big fan of you since I used to live in Cuba. It was good, man. It was a beautiful feeling.
Oh, that's great. And were there any specific American drummers that you were hearing that were impacting you?
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, back in the days in Cuba, they were talking about Vinny Colaiuta like nobody else,
Yeah.
Steve Gadd like nobody else. Um, who was the other drummer they were talking a lot in Cuba? Danny Chamber.
Yeah.
What is the name of this guy from from Dave Matthews Band?
Oh, Cutter Beaufort.
Yes. So and eventually by the end of the 90s, around 1996, I can say, um, a lot of the videos, all those modern drummers events that were filmed. I mean, Paul did a lot of those
Yeah.
things. All
Yeah.
these videos, Giovanni Dag and Changuito, he start getting in Cuba, and people start cheering, you know, making copies, and we start getting like, oh wow, so enthusiastic about it, practicing and listening to all these great drummers. It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
that I
Yes.
got the opportunity to play with a lot of them and to record with a lot of them, and I'm
Yeah,
still
which is
learning, man, from
which I
them.
want to. I got to get to that, but I got to find out first. How do you get to America? Because I see that, like in the pictures, you can see you went to France, you went to Canary Islands, so you were able to travel.
Yeah.
But when was it that you were able
So
to get to America, and how did that come about?
um, when I came back from 1996, my last tour was Canary Islands with Tata Winners. I was there for 6 months. When I come back with Tata, there was a lot of projects that we were putting together to come back to Europe, to Spain. Excuse me. For some reason, something happened, and all the tours I had got canceled.
Hmm.
So I was from 1996 to 1998. I was so frustrated. I was going crazy. Oh my God, what am I gonna do with my life? I need to continue moving forward with my career, continue learning new things, and I need to travel out of the country to make some, to generate some income to my, you know, my family, to help my family. So thank God, Jen Bonnet, a saxophone player from Canada, from Toronto, she saw me playing in a festival in Havana, in Casa de la Cultura, House of the Culture, in Vedado, and she invited me to a tour with other members of Cuban groups, different from different groups, to come to United States and Canada. So when I finished the whole tour, I decided to stay here in United States, and I think that was the best decision I made in my life.
Yeah,
The
I
best
mean,
decision of my life. You know, she's a saxophone player, a dear friend. I, you know, I thank her so much for giving me for because she gave me the opportunity. And
yeah, and
her and her husband Larry.
the late '90s, New York City,
That was
amazing time.
1998. Oh my
Yeah,
God, I got here when music was in a great position. The economic situation was very good. That was a lot of gigs. You know, I
yeah,
remember I
man.
used to send 2 or 3 different subs for gigs. It
So
was
you got
way
to New
different.
York, you started working right away.
When I got here, you know, first of all, I'm still working on my English after 20 something years. But by that time, I didn't know nothing. Zero English, no friends. I didn't know anybody here. The only person I knew was Puntilla, Orlando Puntilla Rios, because he used to go to Cuba. He came here in 1980 with the Mariel. But he used to go to Cuba to do a lot of ceremonies, and I was little. I used to play from him, and he know who I was. So when I got here, that I decided to stay here, he got a house in the Bronx, and he was so kind, man. He was so kind. He opened his house for me. I stayed there for a couple of months, and then I met my wife here in Jersey in a residency that I used to have with a rumba group that invited me to sing with them, Raíces Habaneras. Um, and then I start right away living with my wife. Now we've been together for 23 years and 21 years married.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was a beautiful New York back
Yeah,
those days.
I
A lot
remember.
of work. People were happy, man. People were so enthusiastic to
Yeah,
get out there and collaborate with you and practice. I mean, it was beautiful. I used to practice for 8, 7 hours a day or more. My wife told me one time, "You're gonna get sick," because I used to put two video cameras on the corner of my room, and then I had a set of congas, set of timbales, set of drums, um, cajon separately. So I had like 5 different percussion instruments set up, and then I used to practice on top of any kind of music, from hip hop to R&B to timba to Latin jazz, rock, and I used to practice like that, like trying to do some rhythm displacements, and then trying to stay in the pocket with any kind of music. I was so like, oh my God, I need to get as much information as I can, because I was feeling I was too old already. I was 25 years old, and I thought that there was so much to learn. When I got here in 1998, I was so anxious and so excited to learn a lot of things. So I did it like that, bro. I feel that I need to run,
Yeah,
and I run. I run, bro.
that's so great. And so, how soon after did you start your own band?
I mean, it was a long process, you know, as anything in life, Um, you need patience and tolerance. Those two elements are so important. That's a lot of people. A lot of people were telling me, "Oh, take out those two gold teeth." I had two gold teeth
Oh,
because it was like a cultural thing in Cuba by that time. So I came here with two gold teeth. I looked very, very a little bit ghetto and tough, but I never was.
right,
But people always see. A lot of people always see that what they see outside,
right.
and it was tough. The first year, I was missing my family too much. I was not sure that I made the right decision, and then I start, playing a little bit here, there, like rumba in Esquina Manera in a place here in Jersey. I was doing a lot of ceremonies, Afro-Cuban ceremonies with puntilla. And then I started making a little bit of bread, and I start sending just money to my house, to my family in Cuba. I said, oh, well, I'm generating some incomes. At least if my family in Cuba is great, I feel good. So 2 years after hustling and trying to survive, the I received an email from the monk organization in Washington D.C. that there was a contest called Thelonious Monk competition.
Yeah,
So I sent, I sent I signed the requirement, the contract,
yeah.
whatever,
The application or
the
whatever.
application exactly. And after, they have like a lot of people. They just pick 100. They pick. I was on those 100 person they pick. So I went to the semifinal, and they pick five people in the semifinal. They choose me in the semifinal, and then I won the competition. So Herbie Hancock came. He handled the check to me for $20,000. They gave me the opportunity to scholarship opportunity. I got a contract with LP right away.
Life change.
That competition changed my life. The judge, the judges were Giovanni Hidalgo, Babatunde Lotunji, Big Black, Candido Camero, Rey Barreto. I
Wow,
was like, oh my God, this is the opportunity of my life, or now or never, And
amazing.
yes, I won the competition, man. It really changed my life, man.
Yeah, I mean, because you've gone on, and from there I mean, played with
That's it. I
Eric.
started playing with
Eric,
everybody. I started playing with Paquito Rivera for 7 years after that. Brian Lynch, Eddie Palmieri. Oh my God, Steve Touré, Horacio Negro Hernandez, Greg Yerba Buena, as I mentioned it. And then that's it. Paul Simon. I mean,
yeah, well,
crazy
Eric
list.
Clapton, Bruce Springsteen, Wynton
Bruce
Marsalis. I
Springsteen,
mean, man, it just.
Elton John. I mean, crazy, brother.
And then you did the Love Rocks in New York City, the charity. I think.
Yeah, with Dave Matthews and a lot of this
Actually, we have a clip of that.
Tedeschi
Are you
band. Oh
cool
my
if we
God.
watch that?
Yes, let's
Yeah,
do it,
let's watch that.
please. That was-
And welcome back to the stage, Pedrito Martinez.
That was fun.
There's so many amazing things on that clip.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
Dave's awesome, but you're playing with Steve Gadd and Sean Pelton, two other Zildjian guys, and then
Oh,
Will
man.
Lee playing bass. That's incredible, man.
Oh my God, man. Epic
I mean,
moment, man.
from going from moving to New York and not knowing anybody to that, like,
Oh my God, brother. What can I tell you, man? It's unreal.
was that the first time you played with Steve?
No. Remember Steve produced my first album with the quartet,
That's right.
and he played in three songs.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
forget it, man. Steve is like family.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dream come true, brother.
Yeah.
Beautiful journey, man. Amazing.
There's another clip I saw, which I thought was amazing, with Alfredo Rodriguez, when you guys are doing the Thriller. You're doing Thriller. It's so fun, and that was amazing too. I mean, if people haven't seen that, look it up. It's so good on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And then I did have one question for you, because one of the guys that you play with a lot that always fascinated me is Jair Sala. And his use with the cowbell, man. We got to get him a T-shirt that says more cowbell, because I've never seen someone play the cowbell and make it so. The way he interlocks with you is unbelievable.
Yeah, we've been together for many years. Yo,
Did you know each? Did you meet him in New York, or did you meet him?
No, in New York. In New York, a cousin of my wife brought him to my house when he was so young, and because he wanted me to teach him, give him some lessons. And when he got in my house, I put a recording of Lo Bamban, and I gave him the timbal to play, and he started dancing instead of playing. I said, "Wow, this got a good taste. This gonna be a great musician." So he was very talented since he was little, very talented. And then he became the cowbell player.
That's so good, man. So
I mean,
great.
what he
And he's
does,
so
he
fun.
does magic with the cowbell. You know, all those crazy things that he does with the cowbell is like very particular from him. You know, when he started playing with PMG, we start incorporating a lot of breaks and a lot of crazy things. And I think he figured out how to accomplish all those breaks just on the cowbell, you know, and he did it. Period.
It's amazing. Very amazing. So, all right. So, Zildjian, when do you get officially with us? Like, tell us the story of you wanting to be with Zildjian and how, and what you play, and talk a little bit about how you play those things.
I mean, Zildjian is a company that we all know that is so like important for drummers all over the world. The most recognizable symbol company, in my opinion. I saw most of the videos that I saw when I used to live in Cuba, and most of the drummers that I love here played Zildjian cymbal. So as I was mentioning before, I was trying to figure out how can I incorporate some Zildjian symbols to my setup, and we did it at the Yasa Bistro with Alfredo. And I mean, brother, this bring me to put my setup in another level, because I can use so much details, dynamics, colors, especially with Alfredo music, where I have to do all the symbol touch with this finger. You can tell, man. Look that sound. Sounds so good. It's like when I went to the factory, man. I was like a little baby, like I want this one. And then, no, this one. No, this one is better. It's like, I was embarrassed, man. It's like, it was like, oh my God, I was feeling terrible because I want all of them. And I mean, it was a big honor for me to become part of the family because not a lot of percussion players have that privilege. It was a privilege for me. It was a big honor, and it makes the difference, man. It changed
Wow.
my whole perspective of how to put it set up in a way that you are going to accomplish and to make this sense. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard when you have so many instruments. When you see a drummer with so much throat tones, and you say, well, that don't means that more is better. But if you are so like confident with the setup because you're using the exact elements you need, it's gonna sound great, man. And this is all I need, man.
Yeah.
Zildjian symbols and all this setup with all these companies that I deeply appreciate the big support, man.
Well, the honor is ours, more so. We're just very fortunate to have
Thank you, brother.
many artists, and is like yourself. We're just very lucky to have some of the best in the world, and it's humbling, but truly is an honor. It really is.
Thank you, brother.
And okay, I want to talk about your new record.
Oh,
So your
yeah.
new record, Acertijo, right?
Acertijos, we
Yeah.
mentioned,
And
which
it means riddles, right?
riddles.
Yeah. So talk to me. Where does that come from? What are you what?
I mean, um, life is a riddles, man. You know, you in general, every time I start the pre-production, I start together my music, composing, trying to do arrangement, and who is gonna, who I'm going to invite as a special guest. It's a process that takes time, takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of sensibility on the way you think. And at the same time, you need to be completely open-minded that and humble to let people add new ideas, new sounds, and new elements to what you're trying to do. So for me, it was a riddle to put together this album because I had so many people that I loved, so many people I want to invite, and I was like, how I'm gonna do this? How I'm gonna do this? So the other riddle, the other the other reason why I put riddles to this album was because a lot of people that used to do interviews for me always ask me, how you call your music? And that was one of the hardest questions because I consider myself a citizen of the world, man. All these years I've been collaborating with so many artists, learning from many other genre of music, not Cuban music, and I consider myself like you know, a citizen of the world because on this particular production and even in the previous one, I always invite people that are not Cuban. Why is that? Because I want my music to sound completely international, not
Mm,
just, I don't want to play just jazz or blues or Cuban music. I want to give people the opportunity to share their spirituality, their ideas, their way to structure things to put together great arrangements. So in this album, I did four arrangements. Isaac Delgado Jr., the piano player, did most of them, but I add elements from European music, from classical music from Europe, blues, Eric Clapton, jazz from Kenny Garrett and John Faddis. Terrence Martin bring his like funky thing to the album. Then Gilberto Santa Rosa, which is an icon of Puerto Rican music, bring his soul, his powerful voice. Isaac Delgado from Cuba bring his, you know, his touch. And then Dagoberto Gonzalez Jr. did all the violins, and you know he did that on Aumba, the first song. And Alexander Abreu, which is a great trumpet player, put one of his beautiful solos. But also I had David Sanchez, extraordinary
mm,
saxophone player, Miguel Zenon, amazing ones, Sean Jones on trumpet and Etienne Charles. You can tell a lot of people. Then I can, Eric Clapton, of course, but I have so many great musicians because that's what I love. For me, always music being an art to unite, and not a sport to divide. I always trying to put together in my music and add different elements, different genre of music, and that's for me is the key to continue moving forward and trying to change the course of music in a term that it's not just, oh, this is the rules. You need to do jazz this way or blues this way or Cuban music this way. I have no rules in music, brother.
Yeah.
And it's so clear in my previous albums. They're all different. They all have a direction. They all have a very positive message. And that's what it is.
Yeah, it's the record. I haven't heard the whole thing yet because it's new. It just came out. But the bit I've heard is beautiful, man. And I totally see what you're saying, how you're taking different. We have a clip with you and Eric, but before we play it, I wanted to ask, how did that come about? How did you get in touch with Eric? Like, how did that come about?
That was that was a movie, man. I would like to have the right word to express how I feel when I email Eric, inviting him to this album, and he said, yes, I'm down.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I have 3 days free this period of time. I want you to fly over here, and we'll do it. I mean, I was scared, I was confused, I was so happy, I was so excited. So many emotions came. And wow, it blew my mind when I was in the studio, when I saw that was real. And then after Eric playing on My Father's Eyes, which was one of his hits that I decided to put in my album, when he done singing and playing on My Father's Eyes, he said, hey Pedro, I want to play more in your album. So he played 2 more songs. I was not expecting that. That was completely unexpected. The other thing that blew my mind is like, when you are in front and when you are hanging with one of your hearers, you don't know how it's got to be as a person, There's an energy that has to be synchronized with the energy of that person. I was so afraid about that because I'm completely open. I'm very, extroverted person. I love to laugh all the time. I love to hug people. And I was and it was the opposite, man. He was the humblest person on earth. He was so humble. He was so kind with me. And not a lot of people have that opportunity that I have, man, that I had with Eric. And on top of that, right after he recorded, he said, I want to invite you as a special guest to Crossroads Festival. What? Can you imagine in an arena? I was right next to Eric Clapton with my congas, man. A black guy, a rumbero from Cuba, in an arena, singing in English, with the congas right next to Eric Clapton on front, not even in the back. It's like, man, how do you call this? There's no way to name it, man. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's something that really changed my life, man. It's like one of the most epic moments, one of the epic moments in my life, man. Being in the studio with Eric Clapton, we cried together because I want him to tell me the history about My Father's Eyes. He started crying. When he started telling me the story, I started crying too. It was so emotional about it, and it really, the day we sing that, we sing that song like 3 days, trying to get the best take. And that day that we both start crying was the one that came out was like, wow, so powerful.
Well, let's watch it. Let's watch it. Let's watch a clip of it. Yeah,
crazy.
Sailing down behind the song, waiting for my prince to come, praying for the healing rain to restore my soul again.
Just a tow ride on the run. How did I get here? What have I done?
When do I find the words to say? How do I teach him? Why do we play? Bit by bit, I realize that's when I need them. That's when I need my father's eyes.
My father's eyes.
That's when I need my father's eyes.
My father's eyes.
That was beautiful,
It
man.
is beautiful, man. It's
Amazing, amazing.
so great. So, what are the future plans for Pedrito Martinez now that this new record is hitting? And all
Oh
these
my
new
God, man. One of my
connections?
goals is to continue traveling all over the world and sharing my music with all my fans, man. It's like we've been living in a very uncertainty times now where people are so, frustrated and people are suffering, man. For me, it's a purpose. My purpose right now. I mean, it's like to being able to bring to the homes all over the world some charity, faith, love, and peace. With my music, and hopefully we're gonna get back to normal very soon, man. And I'm gonna be able to share with all my fans and with my family, and continue trying to preserve the legacy of Afro-Cuban music, which is one of the purpose I'm still here, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. And if there's anybody that who haven't you worked with that you're hoping to work with someday?
Anderson .Paak, brother. Right
Oh,
now, it's like
just
I'm
became-
targeting.
he just came to Zildjian, man. He's a Zildjian guy now.
Really?
Yeah, we're really excited.
Man,
to have him.
I would like to do something with him, man. Actually, I was telling Paul, my manager, that I'm going to post a video playing on top of one of his hits on timbales and the
Well, maybe,
congas.
maybe we can make that connection. Let's see what we can do.
That would be great, man. I would like to do
That'd
something
be
with him. Definitely.
amazing.
Oh man, and also we look like a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I could see that.
So yeah, I identify. I got a big connection with what he's doing, man. He's really,
Talented cat.
he's really talented and
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
powerful.
for sure. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for making the
come on,
time to
brother.
do this
It's
with
my
us.
honor, man.
It's like I said, it's an honor to have you as part of the family, and
Thank you, brother.
we're so thankful. And before we close out, we're going to close out, but I want to let everybody know this is another song from the new record, Aumba, right? Is that how you
Aumba.
say it? And Aumba, and it features Eric again, but also John Faddis on trumpet, I think, right?
Oh yeah.
So let's send off everybody with that, and thank you again, my friend, and until next time. Much love.
rosario al santo. Mi religión es algo hermoso, lo que profeso es un encanto. Si el cristiano adora a Cristo y el católico adora a su Dios, yo venero la mía, falsos criterios no cambian mi percepción. Honremos a nuestros ancestros y elevemos a aquellos espíritus que nos guían el camino hacia el reino de lo desconocido. Escuchen mis plegarias, acepten mis ofrendas. Yo quiero darle las gracias a todos los ecos que alumbran mis senderos. Seamos fieles seguidores de todos sus consejos y de la magnificencia que nos envían desde el cielo, desde el cielo. Si la luz redentora te llama, buen ser, y te llama con amor a la tierra, yo quisiera ver a ese ser cantándole el verbo al divino Manuel. Y que ambe la wo, la o chambe la wo. Agua y que ambe la wo, la o chambe la wo. Agua y que ambe la wo, la o chambe la wo. Agua y que ambe la wo, la o chambe la wo. Sara yenge, ecumberi culona, ecuella y aguayo. Agua y que ambe la wo, la o chambe la wo. Levanta tu bandera cubano. Matica y traga.